Good evening, my name is Cynthia McKenna and this is Africa. But on today's segment, we are starting on a particularly sad note. The former president of Ghana, Jerry John Rawlings, also known as JJ Rawlings, was laid to rest on January the 26th.
Ghana's former president Jerry Rawlings has died from COVID-19 complications.
The 73-year-old was president from 1993 to 2001 for 2 terms, and before that, he staged 2 successful coups.
I know him to be a passionate man. He wants things done immediately. I always say Kwame Nkrumah always wants things done yesterday, and Rawlings wanted things done immediately, quick. They have that one in common.
He's the type who does not mind getting his hand dirty. He'll be passing here and maybe we are doing a cleanup. He'll come and join us. He'll just get and come and join you. He doesn't see himself as being above people.
I remember one of the pictures. He was at Ashiyama cleaning gutter, and people were standing there folding their hands and looking at him inside the gutter. Your president.
A man who at the time Ghana needed, because the economy of Ghana at that time, well,
Ghana then, everything was monopolized. I remember our basic food like beans and gari was only sold. I remember at that time Malata was sold by one woman. One, believe you me, one person was selling that, only one.
There was no soap. Just bathing soap, there was none. Toothpaste, there was none. Nothing. No food. And we got to know that Ghana was almost just getting to a ground.
But during his time, Ghana grew economically and became the best in Africa in the 1990s. Then they embraced multipartism.
I remember in 1983, before the budget was presented, that budget devalued Ghana's currency from 2.75 cedis to the dollar to 29 cedis to the dollar. Previous governments have been overthrown for much smaller devaluations. The long-term effect of these economic policies has been to worsen inequality.
To him, whatever the people needed, they got.
Rawlings, always able to read the mood of the people, was quick to embrace it, changing his government from military to civilian.
He did not fight against it, but he did say that though he personally did not believe in multi-party politics, but if that's what Ghanaians want, they would have it. So the constitution was written, and from 1992 to the present, we've had one of the most stable democracies in Africa.
People like to make all kinds of claims about Rawlings, that he didn't want to hand over. Absolute rubbish. I will use this occasion to tell them something that they never imagined. Had we, any one of us, dared to suggest that we're going to stay on for one more day, we would have lost the complete support of the masses.
And that is just his contribution in Ghana. We haven't started talking about what he did for the African Union, for Somalia, for Africa in general. This man was great, and he had a lot of wisdom. This is one of my favorite quotes from him.
Let me assure you that Africa can work. It is up to the rest of the world to look beyond the prejudiced and sensational images and recognize Africa as the continent of the future.
You hear that, world? Africa has more than one great leader. So stop quoting Nelson Mandela all the time. And contrary to what you may think, Ghana actually has done really well when it comes to the COVID-19 pandemic. They've had over 65,000 cases, over 58,000 recoveries, and just under 400 deaths. Just for comparison's sake, Kenya has had over 1,000 deaths. So you see, they're doing pretty well. Now, last week when we were talking about the coronavirus, I told you that the COVID-19 vaccine may not work for the new variants. Now, an article written by France 24 stated that the US biotechnical firm Moderna claimed that their vaccine will work for all variants, the one in South Africa and the one in the United Kingdom.
I'm hearing reports that there may be some concern about the South African variant, that there's a reduction in the ability of the vaccine to neutralize the virus. I'm hearing a 6-fold reduction. We'll see if that's confirmed. That is some concern, but it still will likely cross-protect.
Even though right now the vaccines seem to be able to work against them, we need to be prepared to upgrade, and maybe even as a boost later on, or as a bivalent vaccine that goes against both the wild type and the evolving mutants.
All the while, the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, told the world what really the entire continent wants to say.
We need those who have hoarded the vaccines to release the vaccines so that other countries can have them, but also to have financial assistance. And in releasing the vaccines, we're not saying them just give them away. We are also saying, in addition to yes doing that, we are saying do make them available so that those countries that do not have access to vaccines right now should have access. And we want vaccines as quickly as other countries do that have already started, because we are all not safe if some countries are vaccinating their people and other countries are not vaccinating.
Stop hoarding the vaccine. And you heard what the man said. If Africa doesn't get vaccinated, you're not as safe as you think you are. And this has led to the development of a new term, vaccine nationalism.
First of all, the Oxford vaccine was developed in this country. That may well turn out to be the easiest vaccine to distribute, the cheapest vaccine, and the vaccine that has the best chance, for example, of getting a continent like Africa safe, because it doesn't need to be transported at very cold temperatures.
Yeah, the UK is great. You already hammered that into us when you colonized us. Just get to the term.
Vaccine nationalism would be a real mistake. I understand how worried people are and how frustrated they are when they can't get their vaccines, but really we need to be working together with other countries with this virus.
Vaccine nationalism is not new. It has happened before. It's just that it has never happened to this scale. And this makes me think, surely, are we the only continent that are not trying our hand at making a COVID-19 vaccine? Where does all our 844 education go to? The Nigerian president, Muhammadu Buhari, has replaced many of his military commanders. And this comes due to pressure that has been put on him to do something as the terror attacks grow in Nigeria. I still remember the story we covered about the kidnapped schoolboys earlier last month.
Waiting for news of her child. Her son, one of the boys snatched from a school on Friday. If this government is just, then we want them to rescue our children because they have the power to do so. They're slow to take action because it's not their children who have been taken. They've put us in this situation where parents and grandparents are in absolute confusion. They've stopped us from having peace of mind. We're totally devastated. My son is one of the boys that has been abducted. We heard that security forces saw our boys surrounded by the gunmen on top of a hill. We want the government to help security forces rescue our children. We just want to see our boys in whatever condition so that we can have peace of mind.
We still have no updates to that story, but the president tweeted the replacements. Clearly, Donald Trump started some kind of trend when it comes to the presidents. Anyway, the people are hopeful that with these new changes, there will be some kind of reformation.
Maybe we may take some consolation in the fact that a closer look at, for instance, the Chief of Army Staff shows that he's someone who was a former theater commander of what is called, or what was known as the Operation Lafia Dole back in 2017. And of course, there were mixed reactions in terms of, how all that unfolded back then. But then, perhaps there is an expectation now that, he's someone who has a strong familiarity with, the crisis and what is going on, and that there will be more, effectiveness in terms of how the strategy employed by them is operationalized.
Hopefully, they're aiming for the same results that Mali had. Mali killed 100 jihadists. 100 were killed, 20 were captured, and motorcycles and weapons were seized. French and the Mali military are a deadly team, and this deadly team, if you remember very well, earlier last month killed an Al-Qaeda leader. They must have sent only the best.
I am the best in the world. In Africa, in Kenya, nobody can beat me up.
Anyway, Twitter check. The hashtag Garissa County Assembly has been trending because earlier today the county assembly was on fire. And I don't mean figuratively. And most of the people are saying it has burnt to ashes. Okay, that's quite an exaggeration. Firefighters and Red Cross were on site to help out though. At Clean Sweat says that the rebuilding of the assembly could take up to 100 million shillings. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Or maybe Kengen can help them out with some cash. As hashtag Kengen FY 2020 is celebrating the company's 18.3% profit during a pandemic. All the while, Kenya Power's complaints keep piling up. At Robert Mungai says that Kenya Power cut his lights at 6:30 p.m. yesterday, expecting him to do the hashtag silhouette challenge. We all know what that challenge is. We are not going to talk about it. And that's it from Twitter. Now to Out of Time. I thought we could go to all our past stories and see how they've developed. In Tunisia, unfortunately, the protests are still going on, despite an upcoming parliamentary shuffle. In Central African Republic, the crackdown for rebel groups are growing strong. On the 25th of this month, the government claimed to have caught 44 rebel fighters who, according to Al Jazeera, were planning to overthrow the re-elected president. In Uganda, Bobi Wine's lawyers won the case against his unlawful house arrest. Now, immediately he got out, he gathered all his supporters who were re-elected, or rather elected into parliament, and told them a luta continua. That is a direct quote. It means the struggle continues. And when it comes to our shopping list to the US President Joe Biden, we are seeing results. The United States have joined the World Health Organization. They are joining the Paris Agreement just a few days after the inaugurations, and we can see results. Is that what it looks like when your government actually functions? That's it from me. My name is Cynthia McKenna. This is Africa. See you next week, same time, same day on This Is the Day. I name more great leaders in Africa. Just leave me alone.